Hi, I'm Scott Garibay, and this video is going to be about the daddy-daughter bridge. So I basically I'm a husband and father, and so one of the things I'm always trying to determine different ways to be a better father. So I'm also an evangelical Christian, and this idea I think it's useful to everyone if you're an evangelical Christian or not. But it came from an evangelical Christian. There was a gentleman. He's a British guy, and he was in my small group from church, and this is probably 10, 12 years ago. And we were just there was a breakout in our small group. We would break out into a men's group, into a women's group, and so he was just explaining what was happening this week, and he said, I had a daddy-daughter day, with his, and I was kind of like, what is that, right? And he said, and I asked him, what are you talking about? And he said, it was just a time that he set aside for his daughter to go out with his daughter and just be intentional about spending time with her. So I thought the date part was weird, so I call it a daddy-daughter day, and so, but even more than that, I call it the daddy-daughter bridge, and so it's something that I've worked over the years to build. And so I took the idea that he had, and I kind of made it my own. And one of the things I did was I have two sons and two daughters, and so it's very easy for me to spend time with my sons. So our interests naturally overlap. If I say to my son, "You want to go see this movie with giant monsters and giant robots in it?" The odds of them saying yes are pretty high. Same question, my daughter. That's going to be a no. Some of the things I was easily able to share with my sons were video games. I try to limit that as much as possible. I have some specific opinions about video games. We'll get into that later. I have played them in the past. I still play them today. Try to limit it. I'm just careful. And then also the books I read. Many of the books I like young adult books because I'm an evangelical Christian. Young adult books are great because often they don't contain a lot of the adult content I don't like to read. They don't contain a lot of sex, which is or less, which is yeah. So young adult books are better for evangelical Christians. So I was able to port those books straight down to my sons because anything that now I do in my fiction there's a lot of conflict, so often there's going to be violence. So if things are getting shot and stabbed, my sons are going to enjoy those books too. And so I just put those books, action movies. The link is extremely easy with my sons, right? And, I'm able to spend time with them very easily. Another one was Magic the Gathering. My older son, he's been playing Magic the Gathering for about 6 years. He's fantastic at it. After about a year, he's better than I'd been playing the game for like 10 years and introduced him to it. In a year, he was better than me, and he's way better than me now. He's a pretty highly ranked player. He's won tournaments, so forth. And that was great. It's just, and man, boy, did that really, blow up. That one. We actually, we would go to Friday Night Magic, and it's really been fantastic. And Friday Night Magic would be, and that, on top of that, we play for 4 or 5 hours. We get done about 11 p.m. And then some of our friends, we'd go to Applebee's or local diner, and there were people who weren't even going to F&M who were coming and joining us for essentially the after party. So that it's just so easy to spend time with my sons. It's effortless, right? And so with my daughters, I love my daughters, and so it's easy to spend time with them, and be with them. But it's not as easy to bring things that they find fun. So I want to have something that I enjoy and something that they enjoy, and I really want to make that time meaningful, intentional, purposeful, fun, and everybody's enjoying this time we're spending together, right? And so what I found was that I needed an activity, something we could do once a week, where we actually made where we would go out together. And one of the things, and so with my older daughter, I was able to do this, and with my younger daughter, I've tried as well, and we'll get into the different experiences. So with my older daughter, I started with archery, and we did that for about a year, and we would go out and we would do archery together, and it was great because my daughter really, and this is way before, this is 2 or 3 years before Hunger Games existed. So we were a little ahead of the curve there. So my older daughter really liked archery. I really liked archery. It was expensive, and I got laid off probably like 6 years ago, and we had to give up our membership at the club. And so that was the only reason that ended. I think we would still be doing archery today if that hadn't happened. So, but that served us really well. And so the next thing I did was I did Dungeons and Dragons. I actually ran some Dungeons and Dragons games for my daughter. That was she tolerated that, right? So I realized you really got to try at this, right? You have to find something that's good on both sides. And so this really wasn't something that really hit for her and that she enjoyed. And so so basically moved on past that. And what we tried then was we tried yo-yo, which was really fantastic. So there was a yo-yo club close to us. We did this for 2 years until the shop was closed. And so for 2 years, me and my daughter, we would go and we would learn how to do yo-yos for an hour every single week. And it was really wonderful. And it was really, and we met some incredible people, and it was just a really unique. It was a super deep world, so if you don't know anything about yo-yos, it's a super deep world. I'm actually going to do a separate video just on our yo-yo experience. It was a pretty wild experience. But for the purposes of this video, it was a great time where it was something I enjoyed. It was something my daughter enjoyed. One thing that's funny is often my kids are much better at what we try than I am. Again, my daughter far excelled me at yo-yo. And it was just, we got into the $100 yo-yo world. There are $100 yo-yos. If you don't, if you're not in a yo-yo club, you won't know that. There's actually $300 yo-yos, and my daughter had a $120 yo-yo by the time this was done. And we got into this pretty deep, and it was pretty amazing. And it was really wonderful. So if you're a dad, make sure you're set. And we would do this once a week, and I would really make an afternoon of it. So we would leave, and we would have a time where we ate. And that was, and actually every part of this time was super valuable. So the part where we were driving in the car was super valuable. Just talking, I got to talk to her about her week. The part where we were, it was so nice. And, excuse me. And it was, and then the part where we would have a meal, we would just talk and also, honestly, it was sometimes hard for me to talk with my daughter because a lot of our interests don't overlap, right? And so I got even comfortable with silence. Like there were times where we would talk and we were just silent for a little while. Just having that time together was pretty precious, right? With my younger daughter, we tried birding, right? And so me and her learned a lot about birding, and we had some adventures where we went out and we did birding together. And then we also tried astronomy, and astronomy was a terrible debacle. It was super dark and super cold, and one of the things that was really surprising to me when we joined these communities, right? Actually, the yo-yo community did not, archery. The people there at archery were inviting and helpful, right? Fairly. And when we got into yo-yo, a lot of the people, there were just one or two people who were super helpful and brought us in, which is really nice. You kind of need people to help you, bring you along when you're in new hobbies. And so we met some really nice guys. A lot of yo-yoers are very offish. They're kind of like a little bit off socially. I'm definitely in that group, so I don't really mind saying that. Many of them, some of them are super social, and so that was challenging. The worst, and then birding was fantastic, man. Like we went to some places, but people were always willing to help us, teach us more about the hobby. The worst was astronomy. Like I didn't, basically there were guys who, like $2,000-$3,000 telescopes, and we were out, we were trying to learn, and we would ask questions, and they would just kind of like, well, how do you not know that, and like we would go to like clubs that were, that I thought could have used new members, and people wouldn't even say hello. It was really odd. I don't know. So astronomy was a complete failure, but this is something to fail at, right? So if you try it and you fail, you're better off than if you didn't try it. So I'm still trying to find the perfect daddy-daughter experience for my younger daughter. We're going to keep going. Probably continue to do more birding, and but I want to find something really that meets her needs as well. So this is it's a work in transition. It always is. But if you're a dad, build that daddy-daughter bridge. Build it out of stone, and make sure it's maintained. Because it's important. And I love my daughters, and this is something that I really I've been trying to do to make their lives more rich and give me a better understanding of them. And so if you're a father, I highly encourage this.